People were rushing to their gates, announcements echoed overhead, and I was just another traveler waiting at gate 34 until I saw the look on my daughter's face. That split second before she ran off, leaving her newborn in my arms, and every pair of eyes turned toward me like I'd done something unforgivable. The terminal was buzzing with the usual late afternoon chaos. Rolling suitcases clicked across the floor, families argued over snacks, and a plane outside taxied slowly beneath the setting sun. I sat near the large blue sign that read Gate 34, bouncing my leg nervously while my daughter, Emily, adjusted the baby's blanket for what felt like the 100th time. She was young, too young, some people said, but determined. Her flight had already been delayed twice, and the tension was written all over her face. "Dad, I just need a minute to sort this out with the agent. Watch Lily, please," she whispered, her voice shaky. "Of course," I replied, gently rocking the stroller. Lily was only 3 weeks old, sleeping peacefully under a white knit hat. Emily hurried toward the counter, clutching her boarding pass like a lifeline. Minutes passed, then 10. Then 15. I checked my watch. People began glancing at the stroller, then at me. Their looks weren't curious anymore. They were suspicious. A woman in a red coat whispered to her husband, pointing in my direction. A security guard near the metal detector tilted his head slightly, observing. "Excuse me? Is that your baby?" a stranger finally asked, her tone sharp. "She's my granddaughter," I answered, but the way her eyebrows rose told me she didn't fully believe it. My hands started to sweat. Where was Emily? Suddenly, a loudspeaker announcement cut through the tension. "Last call for Flight 267 to Denver. Final boarding at Gate 34. My stomach dropped. Emily's flight. I scanned the crowd frantically, but she was nowhere to be seen, and that's when it happened. A collective hush fell over the nearby passengers as they all turned their gaze on me, as if waiting for me to make a move or a mistake. I swallowed hard. "Emily, where are you?" I whispered under my breath, my heart racing faster than the departures board could change. The murmurs around me grew louder, like a wave of judgment I couldn't stop. A woman near the window crossed her arms and stared as if she were silently accusing me of something unspeakable. A teenage boy pulled out his phone, tilting the camera toward the stroller. My throat tightened. I stood slowly, trying not to look defensive. "Emily!" I called out, scanning the crowded terminal. No answer. The boarding line for Flight 267 was almost empty now. Just a few stragglers jogging toward the gate. The flight attendant at the counter gave me a tight smile that said, "We're closing this door whether she's here or not." I pushed the stroller toward the counter, my voice trembling. "Excuse me, my daughter. She was flying to Denver. She came to talk to you a few minutes ago." The agent frowned, flipping through a stack of papers. "Sir, the last passenger boarded 5 minutes ago. If she didn't check in, she missed the flight." My heart sank. "What? That's not possible. She was right here." The agent shrugged. "I didn't see anyone leave a baby." I turned around. Now there were at least 5 people openly watching me. One woman had already approached a security officer. His radio crackled as he started walking in my direction. "She said she'd be back," I muttered, mostly to myself. My hands shook as I reached for my phone. One missed call from Emily, 5 minutes ago. My fingers fumbled as I pressed redial. Ring, ring, voicemail. I tried again. Same result. The officer reached me. "Sir, is everything all right here?" His voice was calm, but his eyes scanned the stroller carefully. "Yes, officer, my daughter. She had to handle something quickly. She asked me to watch the baby, but now I can't find her." He tilted his head. "What's her name?" "Emily Carter. She was supposed to be on Flight 267. He pressed his radio. We have a possible missing parent, female, Emily Carter, late 20s, passenger area, gate 34. The sound of that, missing parent, hit me like a slap. Around us, people whispered more aggressively. I caught fragments. Just left the baby. Who does that? Someone should call CPS. I felt my face burning. I wasn't just worried now. I was terrified. Where could she have gone? Why didn't she answer? Then, in the corner of my eye, I saw something strange. A woman in a black jacket, standing near the restroom hallway, holding Emily's purse. My pulse spiked. Why was she holding it? I froze. My mind raced through possibilities, none of them comforting. Emily's purse wasn't just any bag. It held her ID, her phone, and Lily's birth certificate. She never let it out of her sight. The woman in the black jacket leaned casually against the wall, scrolling through her phone with one hand, clutching the purse with the other. She looked calm, almost too calm, like she didn't expect anyone to notice her. I pushed the stroller slowly in her direction, careful not to draw attention. But in an airport, nothing goes unnoticed. The curious eyes followed me like spotlights. The security officer stayed close, speaking quietly into his radio. When I was a few steps away, I spoke firmly. "Excuse me, that purse, where did you get it?" She looked up, startled. "What purse?" "That one. It belongs to my daughter." Her grip tightened almost imperceptibly. "No, it doesn't. I found it in the restroom." "Then why didn't you give it to the staff?" I shot back. Her eyes darted toward the gate counter, then back to me. I was about to. The officer intervened, stepping between us. "Ma'am, can I see the purse, please?" For a brief moment, everything slowed down. Her jaw clenched. The passengers nearby fell silent, sensing the tension. The officer repeated his request, firmer this time. Finally, she handed it over. He unzipped it carefully and pulled out Emily's ID. "This belongs to Emily Carter," he confirmed. "Where is she?" I demanded. "What did you do?" The woman raised her hands. "Nothing, I swear. She was in the restroom when I walked in. She looked sick, pale. She left the bag on the counter and rushed into a stall. I waited, but she didn't come out, so I grabbed it and stepped outside to find help." My heart lurched. "Sick?" The officer turned to me. "Sir, stay here with the baby. I'll check the restrooms." He signaled another guard, and they both disappeared down the hallway. The whispers started again, this time louder, more chaotic. "So she abandoned the baby. Maybe she ran away. Poor kid." I clenched my fists. "Don't assume the worst." Not Emily. She'd been under pressure, yes. She'd been exhausted, but she wouldn't just vanish. 2 minutes felt like 2 hours. Then, finally, the officer reappeared, supporting Emily by the arm. Her face was ghost white, her hair sticking to her forehead. She looked like she might collapse. "Emily!" I rushed forward, relief and fear clashing inside me. She whispered, her voice trembling, "Dad, I fainted. I didn't even make it to the stall. When I woke up, my bag was gone." The crowd's judgment shifted instantly. People gasped. Some lowered their heads, ashamed of their assumptions. A woman who had glared at me before now murmured, "Oh my God, what would you have thought if you were there? Would you have judged too soon? Tell me in the comments." Emily clung to my arm as we moved away from the center of the terminal. The officer guided us to a quieter seating area near an empty gate, giving her some water and asking her to sit down. Lily began to stir in the stroller, letting out a tiny whimper that cut through the tense air like a bell. Emily reached for her daughter immediately, pressing the baby gently against her chest. Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to leave her like that," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I just felt dizzy all of a sudden. I thought I could make it to the restroom before it got worse." The officer nodded patiently. "Ma'am, you fainted. It happens. The important thing is that you're okay and your baby's safe. But next time, always let someone from the staff know if you feel unwell. I sat beside her, my hands still trembling. Emily, you scared me half to death. For a moment, everyone looked at me like I'd kidnapped my own granddaughter. She gave a weak laugh through her tears. I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't want to burden you. I thought I could handle it. That sentence hit me deeply. I thought I could handle it. She'd been trying so hard to prove she could be a good mom, to show the world she didn't need help. But the truth was, she did. And there was no shame in that. The officer asked her a few more questions, then radioed to cancel the missing parent alert. The woman who'd found the purse approached slowly, looking apologetic. I'm sorry, she said softly. I shouldn't have walked off like that. I was just nervous. Emily nodded. It's okay. Thank you for holding onto my bag. Around us, the same passengers who had judged now watched in silence, their expressions softer. A few even smiled awkwardly, as if to say we were wrong. Then the gate agent returned with unexpected news. Miss Carter, I spoke with the flight crew. They can put you on the next flight to Denver tonight, no extra charge, but only if you feel up to it. Emily looked at me, exhausted but determined. I can't miss it, Dad. You know why I have to be there. I did. She was meeting Lily's father's parents for the first time, a delicate situation she'd been dreading for weeks. I squeezed her shoulder. Then we'll make it happen, but this time we'll do it together. No more handling it all alone, okay? She nodded slowly, a fragile smile appearing. For the first time that afternoon, the weight on my chest began to lift. By the time the new boarding call echoed through the terminal, Emily looked steadier, though her cheeks still carried the pale traces of the scare she'd given us all. I stood beside her, one hand on the stroller, the other holding her purse as if I'd never let it out of my sight again. Gate 34 had almost emptied. The same faces that had stared at us with suspicion earlier were now scattered around the waiting area, pretending not to remember. A few passengers caught my eye briefly, not with judgment this time, but with something closer to respect, or perhaps quiet guilt. As we moved toward the gate, the officer who had helped us earlier nodded. Safe travels, folks, and take care of each other. Emily smiled faintly. Thank you for everything. When we reached the boarding agent, she bent down and peeked at Lily, who was now peacefully asleep again. She looks like a little traveler already, she said warmly. That small moment of kindness broke through the tension that had clung to us all day. On board, as we settled into our seats, Emily turned to me. Her eyes shimmered under the cabin lights. Dad, thank you for not giving up on me, for standing there, even when everyone looked at you like I was the bad guy, I finished with a wry smile. She nodded. Exactly. I looked at Lily, her tiny hands curled up near her face. Families are complicated. People see a snapshot and think they know the whole story, but they don't. We do. She leaned her head against my shoulder, exhausted. I was so scared, Dad. Not just about fainting, about failing. I turned to her gently. Emily, being strong doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to lean on the people who love you. You didn't fail today. You proved you're human. For the first time since the chaos began, she laughed softly, that honest, tired laugh of someone who's finally letting go. As the plane took off, I glanced out the window. The lights of the city blurred into golden trails, and the weight of the day slowly lifted from my chest. Gate 34 would forever be burned into my memory. Not as the place where everyone stared at me, but as the place where we became stronger as a family. Life lesson: don't rush to judge someone when you've only seen part of their story. Behind every tense moment, there's often a truth waiting to be understood. Have you ever been judged unfairly in public? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less alone.